Bisedë and welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. Today I'm joined in the studio by one of my colleagues, Genc Frashëri. He is an author of 2 books, a translator and a long-term journalist, both in Albania and outside of Albania. Genc, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me, Alice. It's a pleasure.
I'm looking forward to our conversation today. I have lots of different things that I want to talk to you about. But first, I want to start with your career choices. You now work at Euronews. You've worked at other stations before in Albania, I believe both in print and in TV as well. What drew you to a career in journalism?
Well, I graduated in the early 2000s, and I was attracted by the new media developments in Albania. New TV stations were opened, and they offered a good opportunity to have a job place. So I decided to give it a try. First, I worked as a field journalist in the Albanian Telegraphic Agency. I spent there almost a year. It was a little difficult in the beginning.
Why?
Because you have to find sources. And that was not a simple job.
I think finding people to trust you, not you specifically, but I find it difficult in Albania to find sources that trust, because Albanians are generally not very trusting of people, especially decades ago. I imagine it was even more.
Yes, it was much more difficult than it is today. Today, the journalists have the news on their phones, are the institution who send different statements.
Yes.
While back then, you had to work hard to find even the simplest event that had occurred.
Yes. It's changed a lot. Do you think it's changed for the better? Or do you think modern journalists have forgotten how they should, how hard they should be working?
Maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit. Back then, it was more intense as a job. While today it's a little bit more lazy, let's call it like that.
Because I remember even, we used to have to go to press conferences.
Yeah.
Now or forums or summits or events, and you stand outside in the rain and the cold, or you sit there for hours because their train's delayed. Or now you're like, you sit in your office or at home. Oh, I'm going to just watch the live stream, and I'm going to get AI to transcribe it. And then you don't actually have to physically go out and do it anymore, or even meeting sources. A lot of people, they just do it on the phone or WhatsApp. There's not that, physical aspect to the job that there was before. But you lived abroad for a while, didn't you? Can you talk to me about that?
I've lived in Italy for 2 years, 2 decades ago. I was there to study economics. I attended the university, but it didn't went quite well.
What happened?
It was a little bit difficult, even that, because I had to study, and meantime I had to work somewhere so I can handle myself. So it made things difficult for me to reach the proper results in the university. So I decided to come back here.
Yes, but why did you decide to go to Italy in the first place? Was it because of the course or the university, or?
It was something new that came in Albania, a new opportunity to study in Italy. And me and my family loved that as a chance, so I decided to try. But it was not as simple as we thought it would be.
Yes. No, I left home at 16 and I worked and studied at the same time, and it's very difficult to do both. One is always going to suffer. Either your grades are going to suffer which was my case, or you're not going to have enough money. It's very difficult unless you have, financial support from your family or things which not everybody has. So, but did you ever think of staying in Italy for work purposes, or was it always in your mind to come back to Albania?
My priority was the school, the education, the instruction. So I decided with my family that I had to come back here to follow the studies here. And as I said earlier, the new media opportunities that started to, let's say, to intensify in Albania pushed me to try the journalism.
Do you ever regret picking journalism or think, I should have been an economist or something else?
During my time in Italy, I think I have achieved a piece of their culture. And I like that.
Which piece?
Of the story, of the journalism, because I have read a lot of non-fiction books by Italian authors, journalists.
Yes.
And I was keen to work in this field.
So you never thought, I should have chosen a different career path? Or
I don't think so.
It's hard being a journalist.
It is very hard. It is very hard.
Long hours, stressful, difficult to get rich unless you're lucky or corrupt.
I'm not seeking to get rich.
No. That's why we're authors of books as well.
Yes.
We love what we do. It's not about money. Did you ever wonder, okay, so you decided you wanted to be a journalist, but did you ever wonder, if I'd stayed in Italy, what my life would have been like pursuing journalism there? I guess, what are the differences between journalism in Italy and journalism in sort of Albania?
It would have been much difficult there. I have seen several programs in Italy, and there is a long line of candidates who want to find a job in the media.
Yes.
A job place, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
In the media. And there is a harsh fighting to reach that goal. But I'm satisfied even with what I have reached here in Albania. Yes. I think I have the right experience, and maybe the future will reserve something better.
It's the same in the UK as well. Not only is it really competitive, but they like to pick people for jobs based on what school they went to. So there's a sort of an elitist attitude towards, maybe there's a handful of 10 schools or so, universities. And if you went to one of those, then it's easier for you to find your way in. But also, who if your dad or your auntie or your cousin or your mother-in-law knows someone who works there, you're more likely to get a job, basically. That's how it. So above skill, above talent, above passion and drive, it's what school you went to and do you know anyone? If you don't have those two things, then you have to be really lucky to find a way in. It's tough. What has disappointed you since you came back to Albania? Like, what has happened sort of in society or media that you weren't expecting that has made you sort of feel, why did I come back for this?
I didn't say that, actually. A part of me stood in Italy by then, but I made up my mind. I said, I'm here now and I have to work things out. So I decided to devote myself in journalism. I'm not saying that I have done great, big things, but I did.
What stories have you worked on as a journalist which have, stayed in your mind the most?
The first job, as I said, at the Albanian Telegraphic Agency, I covered the Chronicle News.
Yeah.
And there were some murders, high-profile murders, attributed to the organized crime that impressed me. It was a the murder of a police officer in 2006, in August 2006. And what terrified me, let's say this in italics, was that the police gave a lead to keep the journalists quiet. But later that lead became clearly it was not the case. It was not the case. And then I felt a little bit of disappointment. Besides, by then, our editors wanted me and my colleagues to investigate the issue. But since it was a high-profile murder, it was very difficult, very hard to investigate it. Only journalists with, let's call it a strong name in journalism, they made it to write something about it.
But it's scary as well when you start poking around in these when you start asking questions about this kind of thing. Did you ever feel threatened or fearful?
No.
No?
I mainly tried the police officers to gather some information, but they were not keen to talk to me.
No.
Once I had a clash with a police director, I said to him openly, why did you tell this to the other media and not to us? And he, very angry, said, I'm not going to tell things to you. I have my own preferences.
Not very professional. What was the outcome of the case?
The case was passed in the tribunals for too many years. Later, the material assassin of the police officer was condemned, was jailed for life. But I think that let's call them...
The person who made the order.
Yes. They were not...
No. It's like my colleague was murdered in 2017. She was a journalist. And now, like when we were reporting on her murder, you know, and investigating a bit, it gets scary because it's, you know, these people are killers. And now the hitmen, the assassins have been condemned, they're in prison. The person who gave the order is in court process. But we know that there is someone above him that will not face any consequences anytime soon. No, in Malta. Daphne Caruana Galizia. Yeah. So she was murdered with a car bomb in 2017. The people who set the bomb and did the detonator, they're in prison. And then there's a big businessman, Jorgen Fennick, who he's under trial, but they're really dragging the process, you know. But we know who gave the order, but they will not.
As in the case of Slovakian journalist Jan Kuciak.
Yeah, Jan Kuciak. It was just after Daphne.
In Britain, Veronica Guerin.
Yes.
Despite it was a
long time ago. Yeah. I mean, this is often the way, you know, they have to put someone away, but we never really get to who was behind it. We know. Sure. Everybody knows, not everyone, but the people who have done their work know, but it's sensitive and it's not going to be resolved anytime soon. But that's scary, you know, because I remember she was my editor and I used to write controversial things. I used to criticize, I used to, you know, and then you get hate, you get death threats, you get criticism, you get people threatening your family, which happened to me at that time. And I never really took it very seriously, you know, especially as I would see Daphne doing the same and getting even worse, and she continued. And I thought, you know, well, if she continues, then I continue. And then when she was murdered, and you think, oh my God, like, this can happen. People can actually retaliate in this way, you know? And it kind of... If
you go too farther, they may react. And in the case of Daphne Caruana Galizia, she had gone beyond every, let's say, limit to denounce the corruption in the highest levels of the government.
Yeah, and she was right. She was right as well. Everything that she said over the years has since come out in court cases, in like various, you know. So she was right all along. But even here it happened, you know. I used to write investigations. I used to do like corruption sort of work. And I remember it got to a point that I had plainclothes police at my house because I'd had people following me, you know, and I'd asked for protection for a bit, and I had a young kid, and I was like, enough now. Like it's not worth it, you know? I've done 10 years of this. I've had a colleague murdered. Now I have crazy people outside my house. Now is enough, you know? So
even the Italian famous journalist Roberto Saviano, a while ago, he said somehow he regretted what he did with his bestseller, Gomorrah. He said, I destroyed my life, but I could have told the story in another way.
Yeah, exactly. And I had Fatos Lubonia in the studio, and he was saying, I was saying this to him, and he was like, yeah, but I've had the same and I continue. And I was like, but that's your choice. And also, you're not a mother. You're not a single mother, you know, so it's different. Everyone has to make the choice which is better for their life, you know, because things can go real. What you write, what you say, it can come back in real life.
Consequences.
Yeah, exactly. So you've written a book. You've written 2 books, actually. I had the title of the first one in English, Wrong Circumstances, I think is the translation. What prompted you to write a book, and can you explain the genre a bit to us?
I have always loved to write a detective novel. They are a passion of mine. I first came in touch with them in the early 2000s, first with Arthur Conan Doyle and later with Agatha Christie.
Oh, yes.
2 geniuses.
Yes.
And I was attracted by that world. I started to read even also authors. I like some Japanese mystery novels. And after I also read a lot of non-fiction books about crime, I decided, why not? Let's give it a try. Let's combine the things. So I chose an Albanian detective who works in Italy. He was tired of the Albanian institution bureaucracies, so he moved in Florence to work as a private eye. At first, in wrong circumstances, he was busy to resolve the murder of an Albanian teen. And people who read the book told me that the final was unexpected. While in the second book, that is with the same main character, he is asked for help by his former professor in criminology. Currently, he is a prosecutor and asks Tommy Sheu, the name of my character, for help to resolve the murders in a movie set with Albanian and Serbian actors.
Oh, interesting. But this is, I mean, I'm not an expert on Albanian literature. I do try and read a bit, but this is not a typical genre for the Albanian market. What inspired you to follow this? Was it your work as a journalist or your own personal, like, reading preferences?
Let's say all the things came up together and inspired me to give it a try. Besides, as you say, it is not something very known here in Albania, and I wanted to introduce something new to the Albanian book market. The success has been modest till now, but people who bought the books and read them, they say they were okay, so let's say I'm satisfied.
I don't think modest sales are necessarily a reflection of the quality of the book. We know here that people are not buying books. They're not reading. The majority of Albanians have not read a book in the last year. You know, they'll go to the book fair once a year, they'll buy a book, never read it, and that's it. It's a shame. I was giving a class at the university recently about writing in English for news, writing news articles in English in the style of like Reuters, AP, like this. Yeah. And this boy, bear in mind he's a journalism student, put his hand up and he said, "But why do we have to know how to write an article? No one reads anymore." And I was like, you're studying journalism, like you are paying essentially something, you know, you're investing your time to be here and you don't want to know how to write. Like, this is crazy. But yeah, people, they don't read, you know, and it can be quite disheartening.
And in Albania still lacks of the electronic book.
Yeah. This is, but actually I'll talk to you offline about this, but you can do this yourself. You can do it on Amazon. You can set it up as a Kindle book.
Yes, but from Albania is very difficult, if not impossible.
There's ways. I'll tell you offline, because I did it for my books. Okay. I have 3 books. One is only on Amazon, and the other 2 are sold in Albania, not on Amazon, and also on Amazon with the Kindle file as well. Yeah. So it's possible. You don't make a fortune from it, but it's easily accessible to the diaspora and things. What about having them translated into other languages? Any plans for that?
I hope to be translated in Italian or in English. First, because they are set in Italy. And second, because I want to show this piece of the Albanian culture and of the Balkan culture to the world.
Yes. No, you should translate them. Do you have plans for another book?
The 3rd book of this franchise is already ready.
Ah.
I have also other books written, but I have written first in Italian, but I couldn't find an editor.
But you need an editor from Italian to translate it, or just an editor for the Albanian?
No, I needed an editor to correct my mistake.
In Italian?
Yes, but I couldn't find it. And this book has 10 years that is on my laptop.
Oh.
Maybe it will see the light in Albanian later this year, or maybe the next year.
Yes. How many books have you written, like, that aren't published?
Through a friend of mine who still lives in Italy, I made it possible to publish a mystery novel in Italian.
Oh, cool.
But in Amazon, in electronic way, as you were saying. But I was scared then, and I didn't make a lot of publicity for it. So it went quiet.
Yes. But you should stay on it. You know, I've started writing a novel. I started writing it, I think, in the summer, and I've got maybe a third of the way through, and I've kind of like, I have everything I want to write, but I keep procrastinating to sit down and do it. When I sit and write, I could finish it in 2 weeks, you know, but I have to have that kick to do it. And it was quite hard for me writing a novel, because I'm so used to being a journalist, and even my other books are non-fiction, you know. It's very hard to make that switch. But it's about, and actually all the characters in it are based on real people. So I interviewed people who I've then turned into characters. I even went to a prison and interviewed someone as one of the characters for it. And it's about the phenomenon of trafficking in Albania, but bringing, for example, Filipino people to Albania and trafficking them for work and things like this. But the parallel between how someone from America, when they come to work in Albania, how they're treated, like God. And then how someone from the Philippines, when they come here, how they're treated. And it's a parallel story of the two lives and how they are treated in this country where God and guest are supposed to be the same. But in practice, it kind of depends on where you're from. So maybe it will be a bit provocative, but it's based on real people. It's based on real stories, experiences. I interviewed a lot of people, but yeah, it's hard writing fiction when you're a journalist.
I've also represented in my books a piece of the Albanian reality, current things happening. For example, the first book was, as I said, about the murder of an Albanian teen, but his brothers were involved in organized crime, and I took some real events and made them all together and then mixed them with my fantasy. Well, in the second book, where there are Albanians and Serbian actors in a movie set, I've tried to show the way we see each other. So I think it's not just a mystery to solve.
It's all based in reality. It's like metaphors. You've used metaphors to show the reality of the situation in Albania. You see, that's our journalistic training. We can't help it. I want to talk a bit now about some current affairs that are going on in and around Albania, because your work at Euronews, you're focused on international matters. And I work for international media as well as Euronews. So I thought maybe we could tackle some of the big issues of the day, because I'm curious what your thoughts are. Now, the biggest news this week has been about this peace board with Trump. And there's a lot of misinformation going around about it. People saying, Albania, they're going to pay $1 billion from our pockets, to join it, etc. And that's not the case. Albania's not paying anything for at least 3 years. Let's see if this peace board exists in 3 years. Kosovo has been invited as well.
Yes.
And I guess I want to ask, because when you see who's been invited and who's accepted, the list is a bit random in some ways. Why do you think Albania was invited? And why do you think Kosovo was invited afterwards?
Well, I think that the invitation for Albania and also for Kosovo was a token of the US administration appreciation for the alliance with the Albanian factor in the Balkans. But I don't think that we should feel very enthusiastic, because in the end, there will be other people much bigger than us who will decide what to do in Gaza. They are talking about to invest millions, if not billions, in Gaza. So I don't think Albania or Kosovo will have a strong role in that.
It's a token. But do you think, call me cynical, we had Albania be invited, Albania accept, the Prime Minister, published the letters publicly. And then the day after, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump turn up. Is it a coincidence? Or
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's sort of, because, Albania is a very strong ally of the UK, of Italy, of Germany, of France. And these are countries which are not going to, at the moment, don't appear to be taking part in it.
Okay, but we are not at the same levels with France, Great Britain, or Italy.
No.
A small country.
But what I'm saying is the government siding with Trump on this when our other allies are not, to do with the investment of Kushner in Albania, perhaps?
Yes, I guess it has to do with it, certainly. But, however, I think it's not a bad thing to be invited by President Trump.
No, but do you think if the UK, if Canada, if France, if Germany, if they all say no, do you think it's a bad thing for Albania to accept?
I don't think so, but in case of the United Kingdom, I don't think that they will say no in a definitive way.
No, we'll be
Because
British
there
about
is
it.
Tony Blair, former
Yeah.
prime minister, who will lead this board for the Gaza reconstruction. So they have to deal with each other. So I don't think there will be a simple no.
And Blair is close with, we know Blair and Rama have connections as well, you know.
Yes,
So
yes.
no, the British, we won't say no. We'll be quite polite about it, you know. But how do you feel about this situation with Sazan Island? You know, do you think it's fair for such a project to be developed?
I'm not against the project, but I insist for it to have transparency. We may give the Sazan Island to them, but we also need to know what will we gain in return. If everything is kept hidden, then I disagree with that.
I worry about the practicality of it. Like, I stayed in the south in the summer. There was no electric. There was no water. How are you going to sustain a project of this size when already there's not enough infrastructure to support what's there?
Well, in this case, I read a book, a novel, a long time ago. It was about a rich man who told to his son, if you have money, you can move the mountains. So if they have the capitals, they can resolve these problems.
I worry that by resolving these problems, it's going to end up impacting Albanian people. For example, they'll take water from rivers, which people rely on for their...
Yeah.
This is my concern, you know, that we don't have the infrastructure or the capacity for such a project. And in order to make it happen, regular people will suffer.
Will suffer.
This is the problem. They're suffering already, you know. But what about this hyper luxury tourism? I mean, do you think this is the right way for Albania to go?
I don't think it is the right way. In this case of the hyper tourism, it seems to me that Albania has become sort of South American countries where there are two straits of society, a rich one and a poor one.
Yes.
While the one in the middle is almost inexistent. And here in Albania, there are too many expensive projects, but the money spent for them do not go to the citizens, to help the citizens. They go for a small part of our society, businessmen or politicians also.
I think there is a middle class in Albania. I think you are middle class of Albania.
Yes,
I am middle class in Albania. I think this is a middle class which didn't exist as much 8 years ago when I first came here, for example. But I think the problem is that these kind of projects exclude the middle class and the poorer classes.
Not the higher class.
The higher class and rich tourists, you know? Whereas I think Albania's real strength when it comes to tourism is its like authenticity and active sort of holidays and more. People want something different, you know? You can go, if you want hyper luxury, you can go to Dubai or the Maldives or the Amalfi Coast, you know? I think, yes, sure, have a few high-end sort of destinations, but I think what Albania has that the rest of Europe doesn't have is its authenticity and sort of a bit of wildness, you know, and I'm worried it will lose this.
I think authenticity is something more promoted by the media than in the reality.
You can find it. You can find it. Not in the south. People criticize me sometimes on Instagram. They say, oh, you only go to the north of Albania. The south is beautiful. And I'm like, yes, it is beautiful. But it doesn't have that authenticity, that rawness, that wildness that I think the north of Albania still has, you know?
Yes, but when foreign tabloids write about Albanian tourism, they say you can find there a beautiful sea, low prices, and they come here, they expect with a small fee, they will get a big table filled with food, drinks.
They go to Ksamil in August and they're like, what do you mean I have to pay 100 euros for a sunbed, you know? It gives a false expectation of what you could...
And maybe it will work once, but I don't think it will work twice.
look, if you know you can go to a beach, you can get a sunbed for 500 lek, you know, if you know where you're going, you can buy barek and take a picnic to the beach, you know, you can do it cheaply, but you're not going to be spending 2,000 lek a day and having, you know, a beautiful beach bar and luxury sunbeds. And, you know, you have to manage the expectations a bit. I'm going to change the topic now. SPAC. What do you think about SPAC? Is it doing what it's supposed to do, or is it out of control?
I think that SPAC is very slow because it acts only when foreign police agencies bring here files with investigations and say, here we are, we have identified this Albanian criminal, let's say it like that. And then is the moment when SPAC acts. It should inquire, it should be exactly the opposite way. It's up to SPAC to start the investigation, and if it crosses the borders, to ask for the help of the foreign policy agencies.
But it seems to have been quite quick when it comes to politicians. I mean, if it keeps going at this rate, there's not going to be many left, are there? It's going very quickly. We've got half of them are in prison, half fired.
It has to be seen which will be the epilogue of this process.
But do you think, I guess what I'm trying to say, you know, we have the mayor of Tirana in prison. We have Belinda Baluku, they want to remove her immunity. Ilia Meta in prison. I mean, everything. Is it a political tool, or is this what it's supposed? Is this like authentic work it's doing? That's what I'm asking.
A couple of years ago, I read the book of an Italian judge, anti-mafia judge. He said, if there is a political will, you can have success in fighting the organized crime. If you leave it only in the hands of judges or police officers, they will make something, but they won't complete their mission. The same case is in Albania, I think. Yesterday was the anniversary of the 21st January. And what I think about it is that politicians who say this is an ugly day for justice, I mean, you have to make justice work. Justice cannot work with itself.
I was actually going to ask you about that 21 January, because it was the anniversary this week. Why do you think justice has been so hard to attain in this case? Is it because it goes high up?
High up, very high up. And it may somehow open the Pandora's box of the political indictment. I mean, the political class which today hold the power maybe will punish the yesterday officials that were responsible, let's say this in a hypothetical way, for the 21st January murders. But if they do this, they fear that when they will fall from the power, they will have to deal with their revenge in return. So that's why I think both sides have decided to keep quiet.
But do you think Berisha is responsible for it?
I think that there should be a proper investigation about 21st January. I think must be distinguished what laws were broken, what protocols of the National Guard were violated. Then the other things, who ordered to open fire or other things.
Yes.
But I'm not in the position to say that this is the guilty one and this is the innocent one.
We have to hope SPAC will finally get around to that. Do you think 4 mandates is too much for a prime minister?
Absolutely.
What should be the maximum? Do you think we should introduce like a maximum?
Years ago, I read an article in a newspaper where it was said that 4 years as the first mandate are few, but when they become 8 years, they become too much. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to reduce the years of a term. The
3?
first 4, the next 3, and then that's enough. And for the politicians who have been in power for 2 terms, 2 4-year terms, they should quit and leave the place to the new ones so we can have a dynamic politic.
But so we have 4 mandates in power, but do you see a valid alternative in the opposition at the moment?
Personally, not. When I think about politics here in Albania, I
Want to cry?
no, but I remember a part of the movie The Gladiator.
Which bit?
And the part when the Roman senator meets Maximus in the prison. And he says, okay, we will overthrow the emperor, but what then? I won't change a dictatorship for another. And this is the same way that I see Albania right now.
Yes. But do you see, is there anyone in opposition, and I don't mean just the Democratic Party, anyone who is not in the ruling party, any figure that you think, actually, you could potentially be a good prime minister? They don't have to be an MP. They don't, just a figure from some political formation, which is not the current government.
I think there are, but first they have to spend the first 4 years in opposition because they have to show who they are, what they are capable to do. Then, if they have transmitted their messages to the citizens or have shown their capabilities with their programs, then maybe I could vote them in the next elections.
Will you give me any names? I'll give you a name if you give me a name.
I would prefer not.
And another question for you. Do you think Albania can realistically join the EU by 2030? We know it's not based on merit, it's all political. But do you think it's possible at the moment?
It may be possible because the EU right now has a lot of problems. And to resolve them, that may require a stronger Europe. So they may decide to enlarge their borders to involve Albania and other countries, but not because Albania is ready. In itself, is not ready, and I think I'm 45 years, and I was 10 when the communism was overthrown, was toppled, and all I can say is that we are not where we were expecting to be. So if we will become members, it will be for other matters or other issues.
Who poses a bigger threat to world peace, Trump, Putin, or Netanyahu?
I think their approach is the problem.
Yes. This hard, strongman approach.
Yes. President Trump has shown that he has his own agenda. He doesn't want to follow the rules of the international institution. I would agree with him for a little because institutions that of the post-World War II are today inefficient.
Yes.
They have become too bureaucratic.
Powerless.
They are incapable to resolve different problems or challenges that the world is facing. And this is giving possibilities to the world powers to act as they want.
Yes.
In this respect of the foreign rules. So the problem for me is not just a single person, is what this person has in his power that has to change.
Big Brother.
I hate.
I wanted to ask, like, it seems like the whole country is obsessed with it. And I swear, like, when it's on, the streets are empty, you know, but how do you feel as a writer, as a journalist, as someone who's intellectual? How do you feel when you see society getting obsessed by things like this while not paying attention to art, to proper music, to culture, to reading, to writing, to proper journalism? Like, how does it make you feel?
Well, actually, it makes me feel very bad. I'm not against the program Big Brother, but I think it should be aired in later hours. Besides televisions today, if you want to improve our society, if you want to get better, should give something that is more, how should I say, more profitable for the youth.
Yes, of course.
They can learn something.
Yeah.
From Big Brother, they learn nothing.
But people say, oh, yeah, but people don't want to watch that stuff. They don't watch it. It doesn't get many clicks. But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you keep feeding trash, people get used to that. If you take it away and give them something better, they might protest at first, but eventually, you know, you educate, you change the mentality. Right, so we have time for one more question. Which one is it going to be? Okay, I'm going to start with an anecdote. I live near the American Embassy, and there was an apartment for sale behind my house, built in the mid-90s, I think, late 90s, 70 square meters. Nothing special. 2 small balconies, 2 double bedrooms, modest sized, nothing high-end or luxe. 210,000 euros. What's going on with the house prices in Tirana and Albania? Is this supply and demand? Is this, you know, a free market?
I don't think it's the highest demand. Absolutely not. But while it is widely known, largely known, that there are the so-called dirty money that come from drugs and other affairs that are invested in the legal economy. And this, if you let the dirty money enter into the legal economy, they will destabilize the market. And what we have today, the high prices, are the consequences of this.
There was a parking space in the street next to mine for sale, 50,000. When I came to Tirana, you could buy a 2-bed apartment for that. Now you get a square of concrete. Do you think it will burst at some point?
I don't think so.
It will keep going and going.
It will keep going if the state will decide to interfere and to say, you are allowed to do this, but not that.
Yes.
Only in this case, we will have something better, I think.
So maybe my apartment in an Enver Hoxha era apartment could sell for €1 million one day. I could be a millionaire, Genc. Who knows? Genc, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it. That's all for this week. You can watch Inside Albania every Saturday on Euronews Albania, on our YouTube channel, Euronews Albania, and across all major podcasting platforms. Until next time, mirë pafshim.